Well, think of it like having a family. You know, how do you manage a household? Managing a household, managing a business, a lot of times it's very, very similar. Managing the different personalities and the different people that are coming and going into the house. And so I think a lot of it is very similar, and I don't know if people realize that.
Welcome to Chapters by Propel, where we take a peek into the real lives of trailblazing community women with a mix of honesty, humor, and inspiration. I'm your host, Melanie, and this is just part of the story. Welcome to Chapters by Propel. I'm Melanie, your host. I am so excited to have with me today Julie Danziger, who is co-founder of Embark Beyond. In addition to that, she's a huge Knicks fan, I know.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have to talk about the Knicks at some point. And I'm really just so excited to hear about how you started, how you grew, and I know you have so much to offer. I hope we can pack it all into the next 30
Let's do it. Let's get started.
Okay, let's do it, Julie. Okay, Julie, tell me a little bit about what you do for anyone who doesn't know.
What do? I sweep floors, I clean the refrigerator sometimes, I roll up my sleeves, and I do whatever I have to do. But in business, the role is I have a travel management company. I sell luxury travel. So there you have it.
I know. And it really, I have to say, looks like a lot of glamour going on and a lot of really fun travel. And we'll get to that, whether it's all...
Well, yeah. I mean, you could look at, there's always that thing where people do that Instagram and reality. So... it's one of those.
Yes, we'll talk about that. So can you go back to when did you first realize that you really enjoyed travel?
Enjoyed selling travel or enjoyed traveling? Because it's two different things. I think a lot of people, women, men, anyone that's getting into business, they get into a business because it's something that they're passionate about doing. But I always try to say to people, there's a difference between something you love doing because you love doing it and something you love doing as a profession. You know, back when I graduated high school, I thought I was going to be a chef at one point. Yeah. And I love cooking. I still love cooking. And I went to cooking school. I did the whole thing. It was phenomenal. I loved it. I mean, my favorite classes were chopping, just chopping. I could chop faster than anyone.
Look at these fun facts, Julie.
Tasting spices, like I blindfold myself and taste every spice. It was so exciting. And then I realized I love cooking, but I don't want to get paid to do it. I don't want to do it as a job. I just want to do it as my therapy, for fun. It's exciting. I just like to cook. So there's a difference between someone being passionate about something and wanting to create a career out of it, and someone that just loves to do something and that's okay. You could do something because you love it, or you could do something because you're passionate about making it a career.
Okay, so when did you decide that you loved selling travel then? How did that come into your life?
It fell out of the sky. Like, I didn't know I loved doing this. So I was essentially not fulfilled with what I was doing. I was in my early 20s, single, and my mom said, "Hey, you like to plan, you're organized, you like traveling, you should be a travel agent." And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. Thanks, Mom. Thanks.
Moms always know.
I know, right? So so I took a job and was working for free. Can't do that anymore now. It was called an intern.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then eventually started getting paid $8 an hour. Yes, $8 an hour.
Yeah.
It's not a thing anymore. I wish I could pay someone $8 an hour.
Yes.
And, fast forward, and here I am, still here.
Okay, so what was that first experience? You can talk about when you were working for free or the $8 an hour. What were you really doing as someone who was like getting into this industry?
I was doing everything that I could possibly do. So I was filing brochures, I was making coffee, I was creating itineraries, all of the above. I thought I knew so much about travel because I love going on vacations. And you know a little, but you really don't know how much, you don't know what you don't know, right? Until you start doing something. And there's so much more involved in crafting a vacation or a trip than I really realized.
So before you started Embark Beyond, were you at a travel agency for a really long time? Were you hopping around? Like, how were you learning before?
Yeah, so I was at a company briefly, and then for about a year or two. And then the company that I was with prior to launching Embark Beyond was there for 14 years. So it was a great experience, really good company, still in existence today, nothing negative to say about it. But when I had started, I was there for 14 years. I would have loved to have had something like Propel or some kind of an education on how to become a business, not only a business owner, someone that just has a job, someone that wants to in the beginning, I'll tell you, I thought I was taking a job to work in travel. I did not think I was going to have a career. And at some point, maybe year 3 or 4, I realized, oh my, this is no longer a job, this is a career. And something clicked at that point. And then I was like, holy cow, this is a career. This is no longer just a day job. And that's when I started to feel like I wanted more and I wanted to grow. But before that, it was a job, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a job. It's great. It was comfortable.
No, and I think you make so many good points, but I think that a job has its purpose, and some people are looking for a job, and that's awesome. And then some people are looking for a career.
And some people don't know what they're looking for until it hits you in the face.
100%. And I think as a coach at Propel, I speak to clients who have been someplace for a long time, and they realize at some point, like, I don't feel fulfilled, this isn't what I want, and I'm ready to make a shift. And then start to think about their passions and their strengths and their values and, like, where can I take this? I thought I wanted a job, and now I figured out that this is going in a different way. So when that click happened, it's amazing that at least you started to think of things in a different way. And like you said, now Propel does have an amazing, amazing roster of mentors, which I think some people know about and some people don't, where you can call and say, like, I don't know how to start a business. I don't know how to work for a business. And luckily now we have that. So now...
Wait, can I get a mentor?
Yes, Julie.
You want to be my mentor?
I would love to be your mentor. I think you could teach me a thing or two. Only if you take me on your trips. So 14 years with this company, what happens when you leave there?
Well, it wasn't overnight.
Okay.
It took us actually a few years to work on a strategy, work on a game plan. So it wasn't like, okay, March 2019, we didn't just open the door to an office and walk in like it's a sitcom from 1987 where they just open it and all of a sudden everything's there, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
And then at the end, when it's like sad when they leave.
They
and
close the door and the lights go out.
It's not like that.
So how did it start?
It took us a few years. We had to figure out, everything, every part of the business, where our office space, how many people we wanted to have with us, what roles were important, insurance, healthcare. Everything.
Yeah.
So we took time. We didn't just snap our fingers and say, let's go open our own company today. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. So it took time and patience and effort and a lot of sleepless nights. And then we did it. March 2019, we launched the company 1 year before the world shut down.
Yes.
Great timing, right?
Yes. So how did that go?
We're still here. So obviously not as bad as it could have.
Yes.
But it was an interesting time. When we started the company, fortunately, we had 14, 15 of us all in a loft on 19th Street, all in person, all in New York, and we had to roll up our sleeves and get creative and not start over, but how can we continue to grow and continue to keep things moving? And we did it, and now we're still here.
And now you have a partner.
I have 2 partners.
Okay.
Yes.
And how is it working? You started with 2 partners? The 3
Yes.
of you conceived of this together?
The 3 of us launched the company together. We were all previously working together, so we knew each other's quirks, we knew each other's strengths, weaknesses, so we kind of had a one-up on a lot of people that open a company, and maybe they don't have that background working together and understanding how one another works. So very, very fortunate to have amazing partners that we work really well together, and we feed off of each other. It's great.
What would you say, Julie, is like, and you said some of it, but like, what would you say is the benefit of working with partners versus like going it alone?
I mean, okay, being that I have partners, I can't speak about going it alone, and I know a lot of people do, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But the benefit, so I can't speak about that, but the benefit of having partners is you have a support system, you have others to rely on, you if you need to step away for a hot minute, or you could rely on someone else.
Yeah.
So you have others that you have others that are with you, that are doing it with you. Now, I guess the negative is what happens if you don't get along with your partners.
Right.
So, you're less likely to get into an argument with yourself.
It's true. It's true. That would be the benefit.
So,
and I'm sure it depends on personality too. It sounds like if you're people who know you can work together, and the fact that you came into it together, I would say you're right, is a huge, huge benefit.
Right. It's nice to have others that you can rely on and you can feed off of, get ideas, bounce ideas off of. And so I think it's a benefit in my case, but it may not be in every case.
Right. And you started, you said, with a team of like 13, 14, 15 of you together?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now we're over 250.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's, wow, we have a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. Yeah. And are they all here in the United States?
No. That's the beauty of it, is our growth over the past couple of years has been mostly outside of New York and outside of the U.S., actually. We have an office in São Paulo, Brazil, and we have about 50 people down there.
Wow.
Amazing. We have amazing partners. So again, it might have been the three of us that founded the company, but we do have other partners outside of the three of us. So it's important to bring the right people on the bus. So we have an office in São Paulo, Brazil, and then we have people all over. We have agents that are selling from the U.S., from Europe, from the Middle East. I mean, all over. So.
Unbelievable. And how is it managing a team of people? Because again, I imagine there are challenges that come with that, and I imagine that it's amazing in some ways.
Well, they manage me. Well, think of it like having a family. How do you manage a household? Managing a household, managing a business, a lot of times it's very, very similar. So I think that's also a one-up that community women have, is a lot of community women are very accustomed to running a household and managing a household. And business is very similar to that in so many ways, and managing the different personalities and the different people that are coming and going into the house. And so I think a lot of it is very similar, and I don't know if people realize that, but so I think community women that have a
good head on their shoulders and have the mental bandwidth. I think what you're saying is true. It's like everything that's going on all the time just in order to keep a household going successfully. It's a lot.
Right. And even if someone is 19 and single, chances are if their parents are out of town, they could run that household.
Right.
They could handle Shabbat dinner for the weekend, right?
We should give them the opportunity to, at least. Okay, so now tell me about, you talked a little about learning how to craft a perfect trip. When you think of what makes a great trip to you, because I know it's probably different for everyone, what would you say you really...
Well, when you're crafting a vacation or a trip for someone, there are the have-tos and the want-tos. I always think about it that way. And I like to focus on the have-tos first. You need to get there. You need a hotel. You need somewhere to stay. You need to get from point A to point B. Like, those are the have-tos. Mm-hmm. Once you have those in place, then you can build in the want-tos. I want to take a cooking class. I want to go horseback riding. I want to jump out of a plane, whatever that is. And it's understanding the needs of the individual and what does an amazing journey look like to them, and then trying to craft that. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I always like to think about that, because some people, they'll call and they'll say, okay, I want to go on this vacation, but I want to make sure I do a cooking class, and I want to go see a lion, and then I want to ride an elephant, and then I want to jump out of a plane. And I'm like, okay, wait, but how are you getting there? Let's get there first. And where are you staying? Because where you're staying, you may be far from the activity that you're dreaming of doing. So let's get the non-sexy things done first, and then we can have some fun with it. That's my method.
It sounds like it makes sense. And also sounds like a lot of what you're saying is like that it's about relationships and getting to know the clients.
Oh, yeah. It's about a relationship with not only the client, but it's a relationship with the end provider, the hotel manager, the transportation company. It's just overall, my business is all about relationships. People want to do. We actually have. I have it in my wallet actually, but I could show it to you after. We actually have a Credo card, and it shows our standards, our Embark standards, and we give it out to everyone that is part of the company, and they hopefully keep it with them at all times. And we kind of borrowed the idea from Ritz-Carlton, where they give their employees these credos with their standards on it, and it's meant that you have the standards of the company with you at all times. So one of the standards we use is people do business with people, not products.
I love that. And I would say that's probably true of like 98% of businesses is about how people deal with people.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when you're talking about travel. So wait, Julie, do you have this Credo card like with you
You're
on
calling
you?
me out on it, aren't you?
Literally?
You're like, oh, she doesn't have it. She says she has it, but she doesn't. One second. So I have my wallet in my pocket. Let's see.
I'm very impressed in that little wallet.
And it's a vintage version, a vintage copy. So there you go.
Actual paper. I love
It's
paper.
an actual Credo card with all our standards on there. And
I love
what I
this.
preach, right?
I love this. I think we could all use a Credo card.
Yeah.
Let me give it back to you. I don't want to
got
be
it.
the reason why you don't have it anymore.
Well, I have extras.
Okay.
I'll leave it there for now.
So can you tell me how you grew from being 15 people in this loft? It sounds like a lot of fun. It probably wasn't as much fun.
It was a little fun.
Okay, good.
Depends on the day.
To being 250 people who are now a team all over the world.
I think in a weird way, the pandemic, for better or worse, it changed everything. And in some ways, it made it better. Some ways, it made it worse. It made it more challenging. But for us, we didn't say, let's sit back on our behinds and ride the wave and just hope for the best. And when the world reopens, we'll figure it out. We said, let's get creative. And when things get difficult, get creative. Right? That's when it's time to do that. And we didn't stop. We didn't stop working. We showed up September 2020. I shouldn't be saying this out loud, but we were physically in our office. We weren't supposed to be. We were in the office. We were continuing our day. We were coming up with creative projects that can help sustain things until the world reopens. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people saw that. And a lot of people that were selling travel may have reached out to us and said, hey, you guys are still moving. You're still growing. You're so creative. You're out there. You're in the media. You're in the news. I want to learn more about this. Yeah. When the companies that they were with maybe were folding. Maybe were selling to credit card companies and banks because that was what was best for them at the time. Or just completely shutting down because there was time for them to close up shop. And you have these amazing travel sellers all over the world that are sitting there and saying, I'm not done and I want to keep going. And we were able to really grow our business through the amazing people that took a chance on us both in the beginning and stuck with us through it. I mean, we have the same people that joined us when we started the business are all still with us. And a couple of them are community members, and I'm actually like, I don't get emotional, but they are the backbone of the company, and they are the reason why this company is still in existence. So if anyone that's watching this works with an Embark advisor in the community, they stuck with us through thick and thin, and they're still here, and they are the most amazing people, and that's why we are all here today.
Oh God, that's so nice.
Yeah.
I know. I see you getting emotional.
I'm like, oh my God, but they are really the backbone of the company. That's why we were able to grow. It's the people that you start with, the people that are there that help you build the company. And it's not 3 people sitting there building a company. It's everyone. And then the more people come and join and are part of it, they're a part of the growth and they're a part of the next step. So,
And I want to talk to you about that also because, first of all, the fact that you have anyone who started with you is amazing because I feel like there's so much movement today in terms of people having, like you said, jobs. So the fact that you can have this group that sticks around really does make a difference.
It's because I won't let them leave.
It's because you won't let them leave.
On the
exactly. I was listening yesterday to the podcast. I told you that Jack Ezon talked about when you founded the agency, and he talked about how you bring people into your team and the onboarding, and it sounded incredible. So can you just talk a little bit about what happens when someone
new to the business,
joins Embark Beyond?
We actually have this, and I don't know if it's what Jack was talking about, but we have an amazing, we call it our apprentice program. And for people that want to have their own business, they want to grow their own travel business, but need the backing of a company and they need the support, they need the training. We have this amazing training program, and we pair someone new to the business with someone that has experience or that can be a proper mentor. And we have a 1-year training. And the first 3 months is basically 2 hours a day, every day of the week, going through different topics and everything from marketing and social media to how to sell, to how to get yourself out of a bind, technology, the systems that we use. Because a lot of people think like, oh, I like going on vacations. I could do this. I'm really good. I planned my cousin's vacation to the Hudson Valley, and it was like this amazing 2-day trip. Nothing against that, but
of course not.
But I always say to people, I say, okay, it's great. You could plan your own trips, but do you want to plan 30 other trips at the same time? So the first 3 months, we have essentially 2 hours a day, almost every day of the week, different topics and training on different, whether it's the systems that we use, how to book a trip, how to get yourself out of a bind, how to develop relationships, it just social media, everything. We go through all of that, and that's the first 3 months. After that, the individual would essentially work for their mentor for a couple of months to really get that work experience, but without having the pressure of, oh my goodness, what if I screw up? The buck does not need to stop with you, it stops with someone else. So it's helping get accustomed to doing things and booking and really learning the ropes. And then slowly starting integrating their own business into the mix. And people could sell right out of the gate. We always encourage people to just learn and take the time and educate yourself before, I always say you got to put the cart before the horse, right?
Yeah.
No, don't put the cart before the horse.
Yes.
Okay. Don't put the cart before the horse.
Yes, you're right. Mm-hmm. That sounds like an incredible opportunity altogether, though, just to learn how to do every aspect of planning a trip and being part of, a luxury travel management company. So you are a mom of 3 amazing kids, and that comes with its own whole slew of blessings, obviously, but also responsibility. So I like to ask people how you manage, being really busy with work and also having a family and a full family life.
So I don't know, but if you figure it out, or someone figures it out, can you tell them to call me?
Yes.
And let me know what the answer is to that question, and then I'm going to do that.
Perfect.
Okay?
Perfect.
So I think a lot of people assume people have everything figured out. Wow, you do this, you got to do that. And I'm like, no, we're all just as much of a disaster as the next person. It's just, we all, it's how you deal with it and how you come out. Just be grateful, be happy, appreciate what you have, and know that nothing is ever going to be perfect. But again, if someone does figure out this secret to life, apparently, tell them to call me.
Okay, you got it.
Okay.
You got it. Well, that's why I never really say, how do you have it all? Because I think the idea of, having it all is just not a real concept.
If someone has it all, their life would be so boring.
I know.
Because then what? What's next?
You're right.
But really, with family, it's, my kids and my husband and my family in general are amazing. And they help me in business. So I use experiences that I have at home in business, and I use things that I learn in business for home. So kind of go hand in hand, right?
Do you feel like since you've had kids that your perspective on travel has changed?
Yes, but I will tell you, I actually, so my oldest is 15, and I've been doing this almost 20 years. So it was kind of like that natural progression throughout. But what's great is I have so many different perspectives on how to appeal to different demographics and different customers, and I can use that. That's what I mean by I can use that in my daily business. And I think with any business, not just travel. Yeah. Let's talk about business in general. If you have something at home, if you have a spouse or children or whatever that might be, or even if you're living with your grandparents or you're living with your parents, whatever it is, using those experiences that you have at home to better understand how you can potentially run a business, I think you might have a one-up on some other people if you can figure that out. And it's not only about having kids, it's about surrounding yourself with great friends and great family, and everyone's home looks different and their support system is different. For me, it's my kids and my family, and the understanding, like you were saying, how what are the needs of a 15-year-old boy and what are the needs of a 9-year-old girl. It can kind of bring that into what I do with travel. So yeah.
So yes, I totally agree with you. Whatever your situation is at home, I'm sure that lends a different light to how you're planning a trip or how you're thinking about experiences. So you've been at this now 20-ish years. What do you love about what you do?
I love the challenges. Every day is something new. It's different. You come in and you don't know if in the morning I can be in Saint Tropez and in the evening I can be in Africa. And every day is
not everyone
different.
Can say that, Julie.
Well, not physically. I mean, physically. I'm saying when you could be working with someone on a different journey. And when I started this, I had the mentality of, and again, I'm trying to say this is for any job, or any business or career, except if you are actually saving lives. But I always think I'm not saving lives. I'm sending people on vacation. Yeah. I'm not doing anything meaningful. And I think a lot of people might feel the same about what they do. What am I doing? What am I doing that's I'm not a doctor. I'm not saving anyone. And then a couple of years in, something clicked, and when people start saying, you see people 10 years later and you did their honeymoon, and they talk about how it was so meaningful and so memorable, and it brought them together, it allowed them to reconnect, and the emotion and what you actually give people is from a mental standpoint, you may not be saving the world like a doctor, but there is so much meaning, and I didn't realize how much meaning there was to what I do until people started coming up to me and saying these types of things, and it really changed my perspective on what I do, and it put more, I became more passionate about what I do. So till this day, every time I'm speaking to someone about a trip, I think okay, this could be meaningful to them. This could be great for them mentally, for them emotionally. You never know.
You're right. No, I love the way that you talk about it, because I think that in a lot of cases, whether you're going an hour away or you're going around the world, I think the fact that you're helping to provide people with experiences where in general you're with people you love or someone you love, and you can really look back to this time and create memories, which I think for a lot of us is what we're looking for.
I get just as excited by sending someone an hour away as I do sending someone to Vietnam. Yeah. It's thrilling, even just them checking into a hotel, and someone actually called me and they're like, but it's just one night in a hotel. I'm like, no, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to plan this.
That's so nice.
And I still feel that way over 20 years later. So I guess I should stick with it.
I think you're doing what you should be, it sounds like.
I feel like it's a good idea.
So to that point, can you think of any great advice that you would give to someone? Again, it can be in travel or really going into anything. What advice would you give to anyone who's listening?
So advice. Okay, can I give you two things, because I can't really think of just one. It's not in my DNA. Okay. So one thing someone told me early on was, it sounds so silly, but just be yourself and don't apologize for being yourself and for who you are. So many people expect you to be someone different in business than in life, and you're not going to succeed if you show your true colors or who you are. Just be you, because that's real and people want real. And then the other thing that someone actually brought up to me 2 weeks ago, believe it or not, because I think a lot of times we talk about having a family and a job, and one thing that I realize a lot of people forget about is themselves. And people feel, even myself, I feel like, I got to give to my business, and I got to give to my family, and some things I got to give to everyone else. But who ends up falling by the wayside is yourself. And if you're not taking care of yourself, then everything else can fall apart. So someone told me, think about it this way. When you're on an airplane, God forbid a million times, right? The thing comes down, who gets the mask first? And I thought about it, and I was like, well, we all know, they say, you got to put the mask on yourself and then put the mask on someone else. Yeah. But the natural reaction is, no, I need everyone else to have the mask first. But if you don't put that mask on yourself first, you cannot breathe, and then you can't take care of everyone else. So that was advice someone gave me actually a couple of weeks ago, is it's great that you want to take care of everything. It's great that you want to continue to build a business. Whether you want a small business, a big business, it doesn't matter. It's what gives you fulfillment. Make sure you put the mask on yourself first and then take care of everyone else, because everyone else will then be taken care of. So that was something that I thought was very interesting.
I think those are both great pieces of advice.
And it's travel related, so it's like,
Yes, you're right. And you got the airplane metaphor in there, so that was important too. Yeah. Okay, so the podcast is called Chapters because we like to talk about everyone's different points in their lives. What do you foresee being your next chapter?
Ooh, my next chapter in business or
Sure.
in life? You have to be...
Anything you want.
Well, first of all, the Knicks have to win on Thursday night.
100%.
I'm just saying that. And if we're watching this after, then
we are.
We may not be able to air this podcast if they don't get to the second round. I'm just throwing that out there. But my next chapter in business is... I'm so boring. I just want to continue to grow the company. I want to remain relevant. I want to provide fulfillment for customers. I want so much. I don't know. And we'll see what happens. My next chapter hasn't been written yet. Why don't we just say that? And it's a blank slate, and I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you have a lot going on, and this was just one more thing that you had to fit in, but I really so appreciate you being here, Julie, because you have so much to offer, and I know that the whole community appreciates having you, and that you are providing experiences for so many people. I think you are going to remain relevant for a long time to come, and I really think that there's just so much to learn from listening to you and being with you. So,
okay. Melanie, what do you want to get out of this? You're doing all these amazing interviews with so many great people, and I'm just one of the many women in the community that you're speaking to, but what do you want?
So I'm going to tell you how this started, and then I'll tell you what I think about it now. When it began, it was really that I look around, and everywhere I was in this community, I thought about how there were so many incredible women among us, and how when I was thinking about becoming a life coach, which now I did in the last couple of years, I had so many doubts, and I wasn't sure if I could move forward, and I felt like I'm not 22 anymore. Am I really going to start something new? And I did it with the help of like my own support system. That being said, there are younger women in our community, there are older women in the community who I'm sure feel the same way. And I think the idea of hearing everyone's stories and getting to hear how people started and how nothing's easy and how we all have bumps in the road and everyone doubts themselves, I thought was really important. Now, having done, I think this is like, I don't know, we're somewhere into 10th or 11th episode, I feel like I am the most blessed in the whole community because I am getting to meet the most incredible people. I learn from each one of you. I come home from these days recording and I am like on a high because I just feel like there is so much goodness and so much wisdom and so much just like inspiration in each of you. I could do this for years. So I hope that we keep going.
No, it's great that you're saying that. And whoever's watching this, we need to keep this going. We need to take this to the next level. I absolutely love what you're doing. This is great. I kind of wish I had someone I wish I had this 20 years ago, that, with these opportunities to understand and see that there are others out there that might want to have a job or a business or a career. It doesn't matter. You want to do something. And if you don't, that's okay too.
100%.
It's great. It's okay. But I kind of feel like we need to take this to the next level. I mean, so whoever's watching, they're not paying me to say this, but guys, we need some sponsorships. We need some money. Come on, bring it in. All right. What if we got to incentivize people? I don't know. We got to figure something out, because this needs to keep going. And it's not about doing something nice for women in the community. Let's relax. This is about doing what is actually needed to get done to help women in the community do something that they already had it in them. They already. Yes. They're so good. There's so many talents in this community that it's such untapped resources. And everyone watching this, you all have a talent and a skill, and if you want to do something, then you can and you should.
Thank you, Julie. This is so much fun. Thank you.
No problem. You got it.
Thank you so much for joining us at Chapters by Propel. If you're ready for the next chapter in your career journey, give us a call. We're happy to help you with career coaching, navigating graduate school, or leveling up your business with some business strategy and consulting. You can email us at info@thepropelnetwork.org. Special thanks to Melanie Kuehl, our amazing host, to Hit Central Studios, and the amazing team at Propel. Good night.